Legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fight. Pick yourself up once more. Pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. What are you willing to lose? You cover your wounds, but underneath them a million voices in your head that whisper, stop now. Another twist of the knife, a turn of the screws, it's all in your mind, and it's fighting you on yourself. The storm is coming. Wow, kid, what you gonna do now? It's your reflection looking back to pull you down. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head, and then you'll fly, fly, Phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, Phoenix fly. And now you're playing with matches, come out of the ashes underneath you. A million gonna do now? It's your reflection looking back to pull you down. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head and then you'll fly, fly, Phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, Phoenix fly. What you gonna do now? So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head and then you'll fly, fly, Phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, Phoenix fly. I hear the sound that goes beneath angels and skylines meet, and I'm straining to reach the light on the surface, light on the other side. I feel the pages turning. I see the candle burning down before my eyes, before my wild eyes. I feel you holding me tighter. I cannot see. When will we finally breathe? I feel the pages turning. I see the candle burning down before my eyes, before my wild eyes. I feel you holding me tighter. I cannot see. When will we finally breathe?
Welcome everybody for day 3 of the 2020 VCS Summer Split. Welcome to VCS English. My name is Everyday. With me, as always, is Yulwei. How are we tonight?
Oh, well, can you believe it? Already the third day of VCS summer. Every team has played one series at least, so now we are starting to get more impressions, and
Yeah.
that is a very interesting start.
Yeah, you can say that again. It's been a very interesting start. And one thing we're going to do straight off the bat is have a look back at yesterday's games, because they were a mixed bag is the phrase I'm going to use to be a little diplomatic, perhaps. But in the end, we did learn a lot about the teams. What were your big takeaways from Team Secret versus Cerberus?
Team Secret played very badly, and Cerberus was very impressive. So those are the two most important things to take away. I feel like the biggest weakness of Team Secret we'll talk about in the second series when they play again today. But let's focus on Cerberus, because they are in our first series here, and they just looked well coordinated. They played a very solid mid and late game where they were able to close out games even from behind in game 2. They acknowledged, or they knew what the team compositions were supposed to do. And yeah, I was very impressed with most of their players, especially Artemis as the main carry. He received the most MVP points from us yesterday. I can spoiler that much. I wouldn't say how many. But yeah, he looked like a very, very strong ADC player in this ADC-focused meta. So that's a very, very nice thing Cerberus is going for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's touch in as well on the champions that have had the highest presence and the highest win rates of the week, because the drafts haven't been exactly what we expect. What's been your impression of the VCS's meta read? Are they on the ball, or are we starting off like we did last split about a year in the past?
Well, I feel like, as always, when we come out of the off-season, every single series has a different in-game meta in the series. We had the series where 𝗬𝗲𝗺 was first picks. We had the series where 𝗬𝗲𝗺 was completely ignored. The most important thing is, as we can see, the champions, those are champions that are picked globally as well. You see Varus, 8 bans, 𝗙𝗪𝗀, where 𝗙𝗪𝗀 is on the picture, and 𝗙𝗪𝗀 is the name of the champion. Not sure what that is about. Probably 𝗙𝗪𝗀. Yeah, we're probably talking about 𝗙𝗪𝗀 here. So he has won every single game so far. We see Karma has a super high priority. That is a little bit of VCS meta coming in. She is valued highly in other regions as well, but Karma has been first picked here, and that is a little bit special. But I feel like the most important one is something that is missing from this list. Yuumi, the little cat, is not here. Where is she? Why is the cat not here? I'm not sure, because all the VCS teams seem to really ignore Yuumi, and that is quite surprising, because last summer she was played by most of our supports, and we had some very good Yuumi players. I think back to Slay Yuumi, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 had a solid Yuumi, even though his last few games weren't the greatest. So that is the one I am most interested to see how it develops. Other than that, Varus, of course, will probably still be banned all the time. He got a little nerf, but he's still banned in almost every game, regardless, in all the regions. 𝗧𝗏 is an interesting one. You can see win rate is pretty low, only 1 out of 3 games. That said, it's obviously too little sample size to really make a conclusion out of that. So I feel like 𝗧𝗏 is a very valuable pick because he's adaptable. So those are the most important champs so far, but I think it will develop more into global meta with time to come.
Yeah, true. And just to clarify, I'm sure you touched on it. Sorry about that. I had something fall over behind me. I think you all heard it. In the middle, that is the stats for 𝗙𝗪𝗀, so the name's just it changed. 𝗙𝗪𝗀, of course, still very, very strong. So with that, there is a certain champion to have a look at because she's been popping up a little bit more than we expected. The queen of the Freljord, Ashe, we consider her a third string ADC in other regions, but she's been appearing a little bit more here in the VCS. What is your take on that one?
Yeah, Ashe is a very interesting one because she is basically one of those champs that's only played in the East. We haven't seen her too much in Western regions. As you can see, 50% presence, which is very high for niche ADC. You would think she's more of a niche champ, but 50% is more than that. As you can see, KDA is pretty low. Gold per minute is considerably low as well. But Ashe doesn't really need that much gold to shine. Ashe is more. We see her mostly as red side first rotation to come in and be a very strong answer into carry ADCs to enable other lanes. Because Ashe can function on one item. She spikes on every single item because she's not that crit reliant with her passive coming in. So she's good on one item, she's good on two items, she's good on three items. You don't really have any particular stage in the game where you have to wait for Ashe to come online. Because her ultimate is always utility, her E is a lot of utility as well. She has a very strong laning phase. So I can see why people are starting to prioritize Ashe. What I don't want to see is Ashe as a primary carry. I don't feel like she can function very well as a primary carry. And especially compared to Aphelios and 𝗬𝗲. Those two champs just are a little bit stronger in that aspect. So I like Ashe. I want to see more Ashe, but please consider your composition when building Ashe.
Yeah, absolutely. You need a secondary damage source when you have Ashe. She just doesn't quite do enough. The utility is very good, though. But maybe people are just saying, well, if Varus is banned every game, we have to pick the other archer. It's the only other bow that is viable, except, I guess, Kindred. Kindred's had some good performances as well.
Indeed.
So, with that, we will keep on trucking, rapidly moving on to our first match of today, which is Flash taking on Cerberus, the reigning champs, against a team that did not make playoffs. And boy, oh boy, have I got an offer for you. I don't know when we're transitioning. So welcome. Come on down to Everyday and Sons VCS Emporium. We've got all the things you need to get through this summer split. We've got stats, we've got drafts, and just yesterday, we've even picked ourselves up a real, genuine Harney, cheap to any team that needs a top laner. But I'm here to tell you about one particular gem I've procured for you today. I've got the most skilled, the most fearsome, the most fierce team we've seen this week. It's Flash. Let me tell you, the champs of last split have carried that form through to this week. Their first match against Percent was one of the most exciting, one of the most exhilarating matches we've ever seen. They've beaten Percent. They've got Cerberus. Well, they didn't beat them, but no challenges yet for the reigning champs. What's that? Did they actually beat Percent? Well, what do you think? They're the reigning champs. Not convinced yet? Don't worry. Here at Everyday and Sons, we've got statistics. Flash's goal difference at 15 plus 12.49. Absolute dominance in the early game is what to expect from these burning hot boys. Now, I can already hear you say, well, did they close the game out cleanly? And I'll tell you that those games ended with no doubt who was going to win. Their average game time of 34 minutes and 11 seconds. They're a thorough team. They ticked all those boxes, and everything Flash did ensured a Nexus exploded at the end. It's a great deal, boys. Where can you buy a stake in a team that gets 3 out of every 4 Rift Heralds? That's right, a 75% Rift Herald rate. And I'm offering you, today only, a 75% discount on changing your predictions over to Flash. 1,801 damage per minute. It's a blistering pace. Constant fighting and action in these games. Oh, did they win the fights? That would be a results-based analysis, my friend. So come on down to Everyday and Sons and get yourself a big old heap and helmet of Flash. They're the big dogs on the block, and they're going to send these puppies packing. And only Everyday and Sons can get you the best deals on Flash.
Well, I feel like I am sadly still not convinced. I want to buy Cerberus. Do you have Cerberus in your arsenal as well? Can I buy Cerberus? I like Cerberus.
I mean, I'm just saying, Flash is the better product, and we can bring up our predictions, which obviously will show the best deal. You want to? Yeah,
the best deal is Cerberus 2.0, by the way.
Are you not buying in?
No. I am full on buying Cerberus.
For the record, I've actually changed my predictions as well.
Yes. Cerberus looked very impressive yesterday. I really want to see what they can do today, and I feel like they will stomp Flash. Flash had a lot of very strange mistakes in the first series, and even though they got 3 out of 4 Riftalds, if it doesn't amount to anything, who cares?
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. Yeah, I mean, maybe you shouldn't trust every traveling salesman that comes to your town that's selling miracle cures and monorails, is what I would say. But, here at Everyday and Sons, we definitely take pride. We take pride in our products, and Flash is definitely a top-of-the-line deal for us. So, with that, we will continue moving on. I hope you all enjoyed a little bit of comedy. A little bit of levity. We've got a few things to talk about, and we're going to keep trucking forward and talk about some matchups. We've got the boomers of the top lane, LL taking on Stark. They're both old boys, and I think we might be looking at some half-boiled pasta slaps up there.
Oh, yeah. It's on against Maokai time. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, this top lane will probably get the least camera time any lane has ever gotten in a pro game, because there's nothing going to happen in this matchup. Stark against LL. Both are decent laners, both are very good players out of lane, but both are kind of weak side players for their team most of the time, so I expect the tank matchup. So let's ignore those two and go to the most important, most interesting, and probably pivotal matchup here. It's the ADCs. Artemis, the former sub for 𝗧𝗧, can he outperform him today?
Yeah, he's got a lot to prove. It will be 𝗧𝗧 versus Artemis down in the bot lane. We've talked about ADCs a lot. We see they both have pulled Ezreal out of the trash can, and they've been playing him a lot. They've got, all of those stats are first and second, I guess, except 𝗧𝗧, who's a bit further down in the damage percent. Who's your pick to come out on top in this matchup?
I favor Cerberus today. Artemis looked very good yesterday in team fights, in lane as well. Even though 𝗧𝗧 might still have the higher ceiling, the synergy is not there yet. 𝗧𝗧 CBL, not CBL of course. It's sadly not CBL anymore. 𝗧𝗧 Palat has not grown on me yet, and I feel like today is going to be the day of Artemis. The day he will overcome his former mentor and walk away with a 2-0 week 1.
Yeah, I think it's, I have to say I do agree, now that we're being a bit more serious. I'm not convinced, as you said, by the 𝗧𝗧 Palat bot lane. I still think it just looked better last split with their setup there. And yeah, I think Artemis can run away with this one. It would help my fantasy team out as well, so I would never, ever complain about him having another run away. And with that, I think we are going to head to a little bit of a break, and we'll be back soon to bring you the actual game. Don't go anywhere. Keep staying on VCS English. Tell your friends, get them around, because you don't want to miss these games. See you in a bit, guys.
3 starting right now.
like always tied in knots. Your memory is all you've got. You hate this place, you could run away. You know you won't get caught. It's all in your hands, don't let it slip. You're way too close to let yourself quit. When it hurts to stand, when it hurts to grip, when it hurts to lift. You're gonna make it out. You're gonna make it out. You're gonna make it out. You're gonna make it. Don't stop now. I know it's hard to see, but just breathe. It's almost over. Don't stop now. I know it hurts to bleed. Just breathe. You're gonna make it out.
Welcome everybody, we're in the champion select of Cerberus versus Team Flash. The bans are flowing thick and fast. One of those tanks that we did expected, gone, as well as the Trundle. What do we think will be squared away? Because there's a few
Wait a second. Varus is open. Varus is open. He hasn't been open. Oh, Syndra too. Kalista is the only banned ADC, so Ezreal, Aphelios, Varus, all three available. So what is the choice? You would expect it to be Varus, but then again you have Slater in your team, and Slater favors the auto-tech based AD carries, so let's see what Flash wants to go.
If he can't play Varus, they just insta-lose every draft.
Yeah, I feel like he probably can, but I'm not sure if he wants to, because Slater in the past has been a little bit stubborn when it comes to champions, right? One of his most played is 𝗂𝗃, even though she just came out last year, because he went on the streak last year for 30 or so 𝗂𝗃 games, so we might just see him ignore the meta once again. Okay. That is... Wow, we're just ignoring Varus. What? What is going on? Varus unpicked, unbanned?
What is happening? I'm so confused. Why is Varus not being picked? What's going on?
So, to be fair, Varus received a small little buff, but he's still considered one of the strongest champs in the game right now. still banned in I think every single 𝗙𝗏𝗺 game besides Mad, because they don't respect virus. But wow, that is very surprising. We see Ashley against Aphelios again, yay! But we'll see Yumi finally come in. Already kind of like Flash's team composition, very strong front line, very strong front to back building up here. If they can even open up a little bit more of a bruiser spot now for Stark, because they already have two strong frontliners. So I'd like to say him go for a blind top laner that can win lane, something like Renekton, maybe even Aatrox. He likes the Aatrox too. So feel like that's the direction we're going to for Stark. On the other hand, Cerberus is still...
I can see him just snap pick the Aatrox.
Yeah, or Renekton. I'm not sure. One of the two. It's very likely.
Yeah.
So you're banning Braum here. This is... The Braum ban is really a symptom of bad meta reads across the whole league. It's not only on Flash. Braum is considered better than Yumi for some weird reason. Every single team in the West would pick Yumi here for Cerberus, and they are banning Braum instead of that. So,
yep.
Oh, Mordekaiser's a ban. This might be a Wukong.
This is very true. It could absolutely open up a Wukong. That's not a bad pick here. I'd actually quite like it. A very strong front line, and
I get me out every day. What is that?
I mean, there was potential for Flash to pick it up, but Aphelios Yumi is not particularly fearsome. This is a really horrible set of bans. Both drafting coaches just rolling some dice here, but there's the Renekton. You very astutely predicted it. I think that is a good pickup. But that means the Wukong goes over to Cerberus. You banned out the Wukong counter yourselves.
Cerberus comp is all over the place. I hate it so much. I'm going to talk about it more. Oh, I like this though. Interesting alternative, a little bit more roaming power. So Flash's team composition looks very solid. They have to round out with the support here, or flex Galio down to the support position. Let's special pick here. Pantheon could be an option. I would like them to just go...
No real AP damage.
They could actually go Lulu here. Lulu would be a very strong pick for the Aphelios. You already have Engage. You don't need more Engage. You actually really don't need Leona here. I think Lulu... Yeah, Lulu is way better.
There it is. Bang! What a prediction! Truly, Yulwei is the man of 2000 IQs. As he predicts the Enchanter being picked up. It's a good one. So, talk me through... Let's start with Flash's draft, because that's actually not awful. What do they want to do? How are they going to run it? And then we'll tackle Cerberus afterward.
Honestly, I feel like this is almost the perfect draft for Flash. Maybe Yijin would like Olaf instead, if he could choose the #1 champion. But other than that, we have a very good top laner for Stark. Self-sufficient, can play weak side and still win lane. So we have hyper carry in the bot lane, everything built up to have later carry the game. So I really like this composition. I think it's way better than everything they've built before, and this should be easy to execute. So it's a very straightforward front-to-back teamfight composition with strong lanes, especially in top lane, and even bot lane. Aphelios Lulu can win lane as well. It's not a bad lane to play. So yeah, I heavily favor Flash now after this first game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the draft definitely favors Flash, but I would say they also won a couple of drafts yesterday, and it was really the execution of the comp that was lacking. But we now have to look over as the comps are on screen. Cerberus, they did a bit of a tier list pick, I think. This is tier lists. Do they work together? And if so, how?
Do they? Yeah, that's a good question. Always a little bit strange to see Wukong paired with Graves. The two champs want to do very different things. Graves wants to burst and kite and play a little bit of ADC style. Wukong wants to go in. He has no dive buddy, so that's always a little bit of a concern for Wukong. I feel like he will struggle in this game if he can't get going early. Would have liked something a little bit more bulky, a little bit more frontliney for the side of L this time around. Wukong is nice to see, but I don't think he fits the composition too well. Artemis Yado is a strong backline. everyone who has watched the last 2 days knows that I hate Graves, so the Graves will not do anything here. I don't see him do anything against Lulu. Like, all the bursts can just be shielded and ulted by Lulu, and then Graves is not a champion anymore. To win this game, though, what do they have to do? Artemis and 𝗬𝗧𝗪 need to outperform their counterparts, and I feel like this is a lot on 𝗬𝗧𝗪 to win this game. If you can slam 𝗬𝗂𝗃 in lane and get priority in mid lane, just be a very strong carry that is able to threaten kills on Slayday, even through palette shields, then I feel like Cerberus can just roll over them with strong individual champions, because their coordination and team fights shouldn't be on the same level as Flash's, just looking at the comps.
No, it definitely shouldn't. That said, there is still very much potential just for winning lanes. Syndra and Wukong are both very strong laners. Of course, Wukong is against Renekton, so that's somewhat nullified. Definitely potential for Flash's misexecutions from yesterday to bite again. And if they get behind against this Cerberus comp, lack of synergy doesn't matter very much. They'll just kill you.
Yeah. This is the scary thing about Flash Cerberus's draft is if they are like 3-4k ahead in the mid game, they'll just roll over you. They have so much burst damage. 𝗬𝗧𝗪's ultimate, 𝗬𝗧𝗪 with his Q ultimate burst, LL jumping in the backline. Even Ronopi adds a little bit of burst with his Bard. So yeah, if they are going to win this, it's probably due to an early game advantage into a heavy snowball in the mid game where they just burst everyone down. But the good thing about this draft for Flash as well is that this is very easy to execute. You can't misread your composition. Yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, they had the problem of always misreading what this composition was supposed to do. They tried to engage on a disengage composition, and then they played an engage composition and failed to engage. This time around, you can't do anything wrong here. You could give this to a silver team and just tell them team fight, and yeah, that's all they have to do. You can't really do anything wrong here, compositionally. Just group us with 5 and run at them, and you'll win.
Yep. Have Palette make sure Slater doesn't die. So that's a matchup we touched on, was Artemis taking on Slater. And I feel like this is much easier for Slater. Like, obviously, not just compositionally, I also just feel like it's easier to be the Aphelios here. Having a Lulu in your back pocket that will be shielding you and ulting you. Slater would have to play very, very badly to not do a lot of damage this game.
Yeah. I want to touch a little bit about the general matchup of Asriel against Aphelios. Actually, yesterday there was a thread on Reddit, where people compared stats of different regions of Asriel against Aphelios, because we've seen so many games of this matchup. And it's negative win rate for Asriel in every single region apart from LPL, where the Asriel is actually winning out.
But here we go. Yijin in the mid lane. But look how low 𝗬𝗪𝗧𝗪 is. He just got absolutely melted. I was watching the other side, but it's a double kill. And Flash, once again, proving why they won last split as they lose 2 kills and Cerberus go up 2-0.
Wait, 𝗬𝗪𝗧𝗪 just didn't pay attention to his own HP bar, I think. He was so focused on what Yijin did that he completely disregarded his own HP bar. He had flash available. You could have flashed to his turret. And even though you can't see your turret if you're blinded by the very annoying smoke screen, you still know where the turret is.
You hope so.
Let's look at 𝗬𝗪𝗧𝗪 here. 𝗬𝗪𝗧𝗪 tanks the whole minion wave as well. He goes down.
Oh, God. That was...
Well, that was very bad.
Come on down.
They just face checked into a whole minion wave and full life Graves. Maybe not the greatest idea. This is the perfect start for Graves. And even though I flame the champion, of course, he has a lot of early skirmishing power. And later game skirmishing power too. I just don't like him in teamfights too much.
𝗬𝗪𝗪𝗪 once again finds 𝗬𝗪𝗪𝗪 doing so much damage. This 𝗬𝗪𝗪𝗪, I think he might be hating life a bit as he's already TP'd back to lane. Can't get that free reset again. Oh no. Oh no,
And this is
Flash.
something that Carty was. Oh, there's another
Oh
fight.
dear.
How is
Here
it?
is the magical journey. Paulette got the polymorph, but there's
Oh,
the flash stun. Yijin gets locked down, but there's a lot of shields coming out of the Lulu. The Enchanter paying dividends as Slater goes full Mr. Spaghetti Arms to make sure everyone is safe and no one goes down. Just some summoners burned from Flash. And Ron OP, actually. Ron OP used both summoners.
yeah, good on Cerberus to pull back. We have seen way too many 2v3 kills from Aphelios' side. He can turn around things if you overextend into him and into minion wave, especially with Ezreal, because you can play very easily against Ezreal's burst. But there might be another fight in the top lane now. Level 6.
There absolutely might be, as both ultimates have been burnt. Stark is in Dominus. The double Cyclone has already been used, and Stark flashes away. LL follows, and up in the Boomer lane. They did not bring wet noodles. They are al dente, and LL has struck first.
There we go. Very good start for LL, but we have no time
the
to talk
mid
about
lane,
this.
we don't stop. Yado gets taunted up and Flash should finally fire back. Carty cutting him down, and it's only a 600 gold lead despite the 2 extra kills, and we have a bloodbath already.
What an opening to the third day, of course. And no time to talk about anything because we have to see the mechanics in the top lane. Nicely done. It tanks the stun with his clone there, so very, very good play. He knows the matchup in and out. Definitely, you can see his familiarity with how to play against Renekton as Wukong. That is the most important spell in every Renekton matchup, the W, and he completely avoided the stun as well as potential extra damage. So very nicely played from LL.
He also pushed him the way he was positioning. He made him move away from all minions, which meant when he pressed Q, it only hit one thing. Renekton heal doesn't actually do that much when it only hits one thing.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. And a little bit of an overextension for Stark to push in this deeply undeterred. Maybe you could argue, but also just a very nice execution for LL. It wasn't that much of a mistake for Stark, I feel, and more of a very nice play from the side of LL. So he starts off with a solo kill, going the less tanky, more side lane focused build, which I'm not the biggest fan. After seeing some Wukong in pro play, I feel like this build is too squishy in team fights, even from ahead. So let's see if he can make it work. If he gets more solo kills, then maybe, but I feel like this build needs at least like 2 more solo kills to work.
No,
and there we go.
Pushed up once again, and the Cyclone's already back off cooldown. It's barely got one, and 𝗬𝗪's here to make it even easier. Who are they going to give it to? And it's 𝗬𝗪. I think the red buff picked it up, to be fair. And it's the Crocodile has been taken down twice. We're having a good feed of Crocodile steak tonight.
Yeah, now he has no teleport. Wukong against turrets is absolutely ridiculous. The new the new clone copies all your auto attacks and Q as well. And by the way, every auto attack from clone and yourself will reset the Q. So if you go auto attack into W into Q, and then you might even get another Q on the turret, a double Q from your clone as well. It's very easy to get mates.
We've got a little bit of something happening here as the bounce house was set up. Carty gets Ron OP. Okay, Flash forced the play, but it worked.
Yeah, nicely done. And now they've Slater on Crescendo, so this might just be the first turret. A little bit too much focus. Maybe on the Rifthold on the side of Cerberus. Very nice exploitation from Flash. And this is a very fast game. Teams are moving across the map and acknowledging where the enemy team is moving to counteract. So a very, very high tempo game so far. And good moves from either side.
Carty gets ulted. Stark coming in, doing that Renekton thing where he presses R and walks menacingly at you. Very spooky. But he'll have to return to top lane now with no ult. So LL will be very happy to see that cooldown burnt. And let's slow down while we have the moment and take stock. What is the impact of this crazy early game on the rest of the game?
So I feel like Flash has played a very good defensive game to recover. They have, not in terms of they played slowly or super conservatively, they've actually acknowledged where the strengths are for Cerberus and tried to strike on the other side of the map successfully. with the last bot lane dive. So they've kept the gold lead very close, and we talked about the compositions and Cerberus composition needing to snowball. That's kind of prevented now. They stamped the bleeding very nicely on Flash's side, and 𝗬𝗨 turning around his early blunder in lane is now 2-1. So so far we can see Flash playing very good defense in the composition that outscales heavily, even after falling down 0-3 in kills.
So you say it outscales, and in many ways it does, but something we didn't really talk about is Yijin's on 𝗬𝗀𝘀. 𝗬𝗀𝘀's fallen out of favor in some of the... He's not completely dead or anything like that. He's always okay because flag and drag is a good combo. But I feel like it's hard to have a super high impact on 𝗬𝗀𝘀. I feel like if he goes in, he just dies.
It doesn't matter though. He has a hyper carry with a Lulu behind him.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
he's just there to die. He's just a punching bag. He's going to build the gargoyles, right? But
hang on a minute. 𝗘𝗀𝗺𝗺 has landed. 𝗧𝗏𝗺 with the instant flash, but he still gets bound to the wall. But look at the shields coming in. There's a teleport on both sides. Good heal for the Moonlight Vigil and into the Lulu ult, but 𝗧𝗏𝗺 will get taken down. 𝗬𝗨𝗺 lands the taunt. It's a 1-for-1 so far, and 𝗏𝗏 is running amok in the back line. Flash is coming out on top here. They're looking good. And in the end, 2-for-1 in the favor of Flash. But it looks like Cerberus will have the priority and take the second dragon. And Yulwei, before you make your analysis, call the rift. Quick.
Ocean. But there's another fight.
Ocean, but there's a bit more of a fight going on, as it is going to be another kill for Flash. 𝗬𝗨𝗺 on the Galio. We know he loves this champ, and we're seeing why.
This is a very interesting foreshadowing of team fights. It actually played out in a way that will not happen in the late game, but let's look at this again. Everything focused on 𝗧𝗏𝗺, which makes sense in this composition. But 𝗧𝗏𝗺 flashes away, gets exhausted, and the Wukong with a very good TP. Actually, very good stop from Lulu. Lulu played this almost perfectly, prevented Wukong from cycloning immediately, so bought a little bit more time. He was still able to get the kill, but this team fight went Flash's way because the items are still the base levels and base damages are still there for Flash to not rely completely on 𝗧𝗏𝗺. This will not happen in like 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, if 𝗧𝗏𝗺 dies, the team fight is instantly lost. You can't do anything anymore.
He also survived a very long time. Only 𝗏𝗏𝗺 survives that long because he had red gun, pressed Q, got all the healing from that, got Lulu shield, got Lulu ult, and got red Moonlight Vigil, which is another 250 health. No other AD carry survives that long.
What happened here?
Let's look at this. I didn't even see this happen as 𝗀𝗏𝗺 just gets chased down, I guess.
Oh, that's the start.
Oh, right. This is... No. This has just happened. Well, okay. 𝗀𝗏𝗺 got bopped. We missed this one. I think that was during a replay.
Yeah, I think so too. So another kill over to Flash. Flash now in the lead. They are behind in dragons, and now dragons are the main priority for Cerberus. Their team composition, looking at items, will be strong for the next dragon fight. Oh,
but Yado's in some trouble. Here we go. Cataclysm into Galio ult, but the Tempered Fate will slow things down. Is that enough time to reinforce? 𝗬𝗨𝗺 with a good taunt. But in the end, Flash just has to disengage. 𝗧𝗺 coming in clutch and a first tower in the mid lane for Cerberus.
Yeah, very nicely done from 𝗧𝗺. They get the first turret gold denied from 𝗧𝗏𝗺. He still gets solo turret gold, and this Aphelios is scaling up. He's getting scarier and scarier. I want to keep my eyes on Lulu, of course. As you know, I'm a big Lulu player, and I feel like we've seen so many bad Lulus in pro play so far. I was very disappointed with the EU Lulus most of the time. So so far,
minions. Oh no, 𝗧𝗏𝗺! He only killed 2 minions in that wave.
The first team fight was very impressive from 𝗏𝗏𝗺. I want to see if he can keep it up. He played this as good as he could. He bought so much time from 𝗧𝗏𝗺. And as you can see in the last, or as you were able to see in the last team fight, you can actually delay the engage from LL for a long time and buy more time for 𝗧𝗏𝗺 to reposition. If he has flash available, maybe he's even able to get out of threats range from LL's side. So this is a lot on 𝗏𝗏𝗺 in team fights, because in the end, 𝗧𝗏𝗺 is there to auto attack. So the Lulu is here to protect him.
Absolutely. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 going up to the top lane to prevent any monkey business.
Yeah,
Successfully
he's
shuts
not
down
happy in this
Wukong's
matchup though.
new company. No, he can't stay in it.
No. Big crab and just a small crab killed at the same time.
Truly, it's a modern tragedy.
We have a little bit of a reset timer here coming in for Flash. They're giving up a lot on the map to just push in some waves. Feel like this was the result of Vision not being there for Flash. It was too risky for Flash to enter River right now, so they decided to give up Shirley, which of course you can do. It's not the biggest objective ever to give up. They also gave up a top lane turret, so maybe a little bit of a blunder in judgment for Flash. It doesn't really do much in the long.
But they might find themselves in 𝗂𝗧. He is absolutely caught. A bit of a greedy recall. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 charging forward will get the smack, and the glitter lance from the picks makes this a pretty easy kill. 𝗂𝗧 now 0-3, a really bad start for this Syndra. And 𝗏𝗏𝗺, despite one of the silliest first deaths we've seen in a long time, 4-1-2.
Yeah, he's still the 𝗀𝗀𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀. We know why this champ was banned against him all the time. It's his best champion. It's the best champion for Flash from the mid lane. I'm very glad Flash started their actual lineup today, because of course that's a consideration we have to keep in mind, where they have picked up some new players and have been experimenting with their rosters. But I feel like this is the real team, and this is the one that is going to contest everyone for the title.
Absolutely. And so far, there's been a few very weird moments.
This is a very important fight.
Is ahead. Absolutely. This is very important. Slater.
𝗧𝗲𝗺 really wants their soul point.
He needs to cycle out of that purple gun if he absolutely can. Artemis.
He did something to activate his 10 ammo Q. So he wants to get to the minion wave, but now a good positional advantage for 𝗧𝗲𝗺. They have vision everywhere. So they started the dragon. Dark.
Need to see them get over there. 𝗏𝗏𝗺, of course, can join from range. Yijin now tanking the Drake. He's one level behind, but there's the engage. Cataclysm goes in straight into the Lulu ult. Dragon is secured by Flash, but they've got the initial objective. LL starts spinning. 𝗂𝗧𝗪 very low. He goes down. LL's now very, very deep. They found him. He goes for the second round of knockouts. Can he get onto Yijin? Tempered Fate will stop Yijin getting any help, and the monkey will get that one. But it's a 1-for-1. Drake going towards Flash, and 𝗧𝗲𝗺 need to evacuate, and I think they will successfully pull that off. But Flash win the passage of play.
This could actually win Flash the game here. They are still scaling up, but this Dragon Steal was very important. Yijin had no business getting the Dragon. 𝗬𝗏 was one level ahead, had better positioning, had his whole team there, so a little bit of a blunder from 𝗬𝗏. Yijin showing his skills as a smiting god. But also big credit to Ron-OP, who salvaged the situation there. The very important Tempered Fate prevented his LL from falling, and LL got another kill, so actually they came out okay in the team fight section, but still they came for the dragon. The dragon is now gone. They are still 2 dragons away from Soul, and at the point when Soul spawns, they can't team fight anymore, looking at how the compositions work with each other. So they have to find a different objective. They have to find a way to accelerate this game, and maybe now make it more about Baron and try to finish through big Baron capture.
Yeah, potentially. We'll have to see what 𝗧𝗲𝗺 chooses to do. Is Yijin just coming in to get some vision control? Has absolutely no fear of 𝗂𝗧𝗪, and why would you? It's a 0-4 Syndra. A really bad game out of 𝗂𝗧𝗪. Disappointing, but here's a bit of a catch. Magical Journey gets them out. Yijin, that was an interesting one, but in the end, no harm, no foul. Everyone just kind of backs away from each other.
Appear to Flash. That is not great. So far, he has played very aggressive Bard in teamfights at least. So this takes away some of the opportunities he could look for. It's not the greatest, but also not the biggest loss. So, okay, good catch for Flash, but doesn't really do much in the grand scheme of things. Palette is still level 10, so he should be on 40% cooldown now on usual runes, which also makes Slater much more tanky. 𝗧𝗧𝗺 already a 50% crit, so he's not far away from the state where the enemy team can't really fight against him anymore. But we also have to shout out the side of LL, who has continued to play a very strong game, 3-1-1, and he is still a very, very scary Wukong.
Absolutely, he is. If 𝗧𝗧's ever caught without 𝗃𝗏 close by, which would be a big mistake from 𝗧𝗧 and 𝗃𝗏, of course, LL can just instantly end this 𝗃𝗏𝘀𝑆's life. Has to be careful of 𝗏𝗊, I think. I don't know if you can fight this Galio. This is a 5-1-2 statue.
He should still win the matchup because of the Blade. I feel like Blade lets him win almost every melee matchup right now. So this should actually be an advantageous lane allocation. But Wukong tries to still go bot lane. They want to have both TPs in the bot lane to be mirrored on the map, basically, because 𝗬𝗏 does not have TP, so you can't go to the side lane. You actually have to send your 𝗬𝗏 to the side lane, but then you're lacking poke in the mid lane, so it's not the greatest map situation.
There's a little bit of a catch here. Galio ult is called in, sort of just as a zoning tool, and the top lane tower goes down. Stark and LL have had a bit of a fight. Cyclone's been used.
Yeah, they traded ults. And Stark is now under severe pressure in bot lane. I feel like this is just a turret for LL. So once again, good play. If he stays in lane, this should just be 300 more gold in his pocket. Will not change much about the match, but it's still a nice little showing for LL and makes him even stronger.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what items you can go for to get more burst. There is no mountain drakes on the side of Flash, so you might actually consider a little bit of lethality, I feel like.
On the Wukong.
Yeah. Because he needs bursts. I know Death Stance is a very good item for Wukong, but you are really not about staying alive and doing consistent damage in this composition. It's all about bursting 𝗧𝗧. And the best way to burst 𝗧𝗧 might just be to go lethality, get 21 armor reduction, and try to do it all front-loaded. So,
yeah, I feel like just an idea. Might go a long way.
Probably not going to happen, but I feel like Duskblade could be an interesting choice here.
No, he does have armor. He has a cloth armor in the inventory, so feel like that's probably the very early beginnings of a Death Stance.
Could also go into a GA, which is not a bad choice either. Wukong in GA, it's very hard to keep track on him. It takes a lot of time to kill him. He has his clone. He's deceptively tanky, and if he goes down to the GA, it's 4 seconds until he comes back. So very annoying to deal with.
Here. This one is still important. 2,000 health on it. Oh, the Tempered Fate stops Yijin getting close, and we do have Cerberus moving up to Soul Point. They could still take this, and with an Infernal Soul, they're in a pretty good look to win this one. But they do need to take that fight in 5 minutes, which is not going to be easy.
And that's the big thing here. You have to think about it. It's 23 minutes in, and imagine they actually got the dragon, the last one. Then Flash would have been forced to fight. On this item breakpoint, the fight is still winnable for Cerberus. So this could have been Infernal Soul now. That would have been a win condition for Cerberus. But now they have to wait 5 more minutes, which means 1 more item most likely for 𝗧𝗧, maybe even 1 more item for 𝗃𝗏, more tankiness for the front line, and then Flash can just take the fight, win the 5v5, because that's what their composition is supposed to do. This is now more on Flash, I feel like, than on Cerberus. Cerberus can, of course, play well and try to win, but if Flash plays this close to perfectly or even just well, I feel like they should be the one winning this game. They are still ahead in goal, in fact. So,
well, by 800.
But they shouldn't be. If Cerberus wants to win this game, they should be ahead like 5k or something. So
true.
Even 800 deficit is not looking great for Cerberus's chances in fights. So
it's true. Now, of course, there are a few tricks Cerberus can still pull. Things like catching 𝗃𝗏 with a Tempered Fate, which lets you kill 𝗧𝗧. things like that. 𝗀𝗏𝗵 is 0-2-1, which you might say, well, that's a very disappointing performance. It's really not. Speaking of which, 𝗃𝗏𝗺, it's not going to actually get anything. Teleport called. This could be a mistake. 𝗏𝗧
Stark from behind.
does get it. There's the Lulu ult. Stark is zoning them, but LL is spinning and winning. Collateral damage is used. 𝗧𝗏𝗃 takes a lot of damage, and there's no Lulu ult. 𝗀𝗏𝗵 lands a little bit more. 𝗏𝗧 with the taunt, but he's low. In goes 𝗙𝗹𝗹𝘀𝗥𝗕𝗏 ult. Will 𝗏𝗧 get away? He won't. Stark is running. Flash is losing. And that's 3 kills for Cerberus.
So this is also something you can do against Flash team composition. Just focus the tanks and try to kite the 𝗙𝗃𝗺, because 𝗙𝗃𝗺's considerably low range, not his ult. His ult is way too long range, as we all saw yesterday with G2's game. But everything else, he needs to get close. And if his front line is dead, he can't get close. But now, can we see 200 years? Is this the time?
There's no ult. There's no ult and actually quite bad guns as well. So I don't think
𝗏𝗏𝗺.
we will be seeing 200 years as 𝗏𝗏𝗺 has to flash away. Baron secured for Cerberus. And we've got to say, that was a masterfully executed team fight for Cerberus. That was brilliant. I really hope we see a replay so we can run through everything that went right. But with this Baron buff, they've got full control of this game.
Yep. I also want to see what 𝗧𝗏𝗃 did in this fight, because I feel like he played way too defensively. Everyone threw... Yeah, let's look at this.
Here we go. Let's have a look.
𝗧𝗏𝗃 gets tempered fate, but this doesn't actually do much. And they even get the teleport from Wukong. Very easy to prevent him from going to the backline. So now 𝗧𝗏𝗃 has very bad guns. Okay, that is actually a big factor in this one. He doesn't really have more damage than the normal ADC. That's not what 𝗙𝗺𝗺 is supposed to be. So look at him here. He gets chunked once again. He's half HP. Palette, he should still be able to auto attack. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 dies to something there. Red buff? Or I'm not sure what. But yeah, 𝗧𝗏𝗃. So they lost this fight because 𝗧𝗏𝗃 had bad guns and they didn't communicate the guns right there. Usually the 𝗙𝗺𝗺 wants to at least have 𝗧𝗏𝗃, 𝗧𝗏𝗺, or Infernum for team fights. And he had neither of the 3. He had actually the 2 worst guns for team fights, at least in that configuration. So the least amount of damage. So yeah, I feel like that is another showing of the Flash communication problems.
Absolutely. There was also a little bit of over-investment in 𝗏𝗏𝗺. Yeah, he's very fed, but once you've used the Lulu shield and the Lulu ult, how can 𝗧𝗏𝗺 play aggressively, particularly with a bad gun setup? Once all of that was burned, considering 𝗏𝗏𝗺 was Lulu ulted and hit his stopwatch at the same time, all of those defensive options 𝗧𝗏𝗺 doesn't have. Collect! Kaboom! Collateral damage, and down goes the Yordle. Cerberus, they're putting on a masterclass.
Yeah, absolutely are. And that's when you as Lulu ping your ADC's heal.
Yeah.
Heal available, heal available, heal available, heal available. Yeah, that's an unfortunate one.
And this is going to be Infernal Soul for Cerberus. They are in full control.
Yeah, this is, as you said before, this is a masterclass in closing. The early game looked a little bit questionable. They were not able to accelerate enough. I feel like mid lane collapsed a little bit here for 𝗧𝗏𝗺, which didn't bode well for their chances. But then, just good communication, abusing the fact that maybe even more a call on Cerberus' side to say, okay, 𝗧𝗏𝗺 has bad guns, we can take a fight here. They can't win. They have no damage outside 𝗧𝗏𝗺, and he has no damage because of the guns. So that is important. I wanted to come back to one of the points you made in the last team fight where you said overinvestment into 𝗏𝗏𝗺. I agree. But just wanted to point out... Oh, never mind.
Jin is a bit caught, but he's on the run. He flashes. So I think you can finish your point now. Sorry to interrupt.
It's very important to get the Heejin's flash, though, because now he can't go for the Hail Mary EQ flash. It's only EQ, and that's easy to control. But Lulu ult is actually very strong on frontliners, but not so great on Galio. Lulu ult on Renekton actually makes Renekton scale very nicely, because he gets slows. The Lulu ult slows for 30%, I think. For all the time it's on you. So you can actually walk down targets very easily. So it's very strong on Juggernauts and melee AD champions. So I feel like the better target would have been Stark to just wreak havoc in the backline and chase down Ezreal.
Have a bit of interesting positioning. And of course, now we have an Infernal Soul Ezreal for Cerberus.
And
He
Syndra.
is absolutely whipping nukes. Oh, Yijin goes in, but it's an Ezreal. He just hops away, and Yijin says, "Oh, right, yeah."
No, Eugen's not a champion anymore. 𝗘𝗀𝗃 with the flash.
Going in, they're trying to blow up the Syndra, and they manage to do it. Can they snowball this into more of a fight? Here comes a Galio ult. It gets the knockup, but Cardi is just going to have to instantly go gold. 𝗃𝗏 is in the tempered fate. 𝗧𝗏𝗃 trying to do what he can. Has the Lulu ult.
𝗧𝗏𝗃.
He needs to burninate the countryside, and he's doing a fair bit. But you know who's doing more? It's Artemis with a triple kill on Ezreal, and Cerberus win another fight.
And once again, I feel like 𝗧𝗏𝗃 is not on the top of his game in terms of 𝗃𝗏𝗺's mechanics. He should have seen the situation there, seen the turret, seen his stacked up Conqueror and said, okay, I'm full HP, I have a Lulu in my back pocket, it's my time to shine. Even though my front line is dead, all the spells on the enemy team that threaten me are gone as well. So he should have actually tried to 2v5 that situation, or 2v4, as 𝗬𝗏𝗺 was dead already, of course. Let's look at this again. 𝗬𝗏𝗺, once again, it's not his greatest game, but his team is really trying to carry him anyway. And LL with a great Wukong performance. Once again, he buys so much time here. And I think Flash didn't think the second chart of ult was still available, because there was a big delay between the two. And now look at this situation. 𝗧𝗏𝗃, almost full HP still with the shield. He has a turret here. He has his turret gun as available too, and Infernum, so two of the strongest teamfight guns. That is too reluctant to fight, in my opinion, on the side of 𝗧𝗏𝗃. Even if you lose your life there, it's not going to get worse. You already lost the team fight.
Sometimes a bit like that. That's like a little bit of a play pattern we sometimes see, where it's almost like the call is made, fight, and 𝗧𝗏𝗃 says no. And that's not good. It's better just to go with the call. As LL takes some damage.
It takes a little bit of practice to know your limits on this champion. And 𝗧𝗏𝗃 was someone who refused to play 𝗃𝗏𝗺 in the spring split for a long time. So he might still be a little bit behind, and especially with this new iteration of 𝗃𝗏𝗺's comps, where he's basically Jugger 𝗃𝗏𝗺s with Lulu behind him. This is something that has only been played in Summer Split so far.
By the way, as Cerberus pull off it. They could have finished the Baron there.
Once again, bad guns right now for 𝗧𝗏𝗃.
Yep. He's trying to cycle through them. Tempered Fate is used almost just as a little bit of an annoyance. I feel like Cerberus, that's one of the only missteps I think we've seen out of Cerberus. They could have just finished Baron there. It was on 5k. I don't think there was much Flash could do. But they didn't really lose anything. It's no big deal.
So, okay. Yijin?
Yijin is going hard. Cardi comes in with him, but I don't think it matters. This Galio's fed, but it's not fed enough. LL in the backline is doing a lot of work. 𝗧𝗏𝗃 and 𝗃𝗏𝗺 take the monkey down. This is two team fights in one, and Stark is in a 1v4. He goes down. It's a 3-for-1. LL pulled all of the damage for Flash, and the rest of Cerberus barely took any. And this is free Baron. This is a free game.
Is it free? It's Infernum and Lulu. He should be able to do something here. He has very good guns for a team fight.
And he's kiting it out. Yeah, he might be able to do something. And he's bugging it. There's no Lulu ult. Yeah, and he's dead. He didn't even press that vigil. Yep. Baron and Cerberus. My word is Cerberus playing well. This is very, very good.
And once again, the unsung hero of the team fight, definitely LL, who died for his team to win the fight, because he put so much pressure on the backline. Everything was used on 𝗧𝗏𝗃 to protect him from LL. They used heal. They used heal. It wasn't used, but exhaust was used. Palette's spells were all used. He had all his peeling tools on 𝗧𝗏𝗃, and 𝗧𝗏𝗃 took a lot of time to kill LL, because of course with the W, you can delay the fight for a long time. In the meantime, all the three other members died for Flash. So very nice target calling, very good teamfight coordination for Cerberus to say, let's just separate them. Let's just throw LL into the backline. He's going to die. He can't 1v2 them. Everyone knows he can't 1v2 them, but he can buy time, and we win the fight anyway. So now it's Elder Dragon, and it's the last stand for Flash.
Yep, absolutely. In goes Yijin, but he just has to flash immediately out. He says, hello, goodbye. And 𝗧𝗏𝗃, this is it, man. You got to go. Yijin dives back in. They've gotten onto Yano. 𝗬𝗏 barely matters though, and yep, 𝗧𝗏 got caught, 𝗧𝗏 got, as did the rest of the team. It's another triple kill for 𝗙𝗏. He is looking absolutely foul in this game if you're a Flash fan, as they are just going to push it in with Baron minions, with a big boy Ezreal, with all three heads of the dog biting. My God, Cerberus.
First round of the 𝗬𝗏 against 𝗧𝗏 duel definitely goes to 𝗬𝗏. This wasn't even close in terms of ADC performances. What a performance from 𝗬𝗏. And overall, the team is looking so well coordinated. The early game, still a little questionable. 𝗬𝗏 with an off game. But overall, teamfight coordination, calls for objectives, and just overall how they analyze the situation in game looks so crisp, so decisive, so well coordinated. I am really impressed with them in week 1.
That was incredible performance. And I don't know if Flash, we said they had the superior draft, and I think that's still true. But the play on the Rift was incomparable. Cerberus looked like a tier above Flash, despite Flash being the reigning champions. Will they be able to bounce back in game 2? Or is the reign of Cerberus just here? Is it just here now? We'll find out very, very soon. Don't go anywhere, guys. Thanks for tuning into VCS English. Do hit the follow button on the stream if you enjoy it, and join the Discord community. See you guys in just a little bit.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Close your eyes, have faith in me, and leave the light behind. You're never alone. Whenever it's gone, let the shadows take hold. You're never alone. Let the poison in. Feel the warmth arise. Close your eyes, have faith in me, and leave the light behind. You're never alone. Whenever it's gone, let the shadows take hold. You're never alone.
Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2 of 𝗬𝗪𝗺 taking on 𝗏𝗏. It was a masterful performance by 𝗬𝗪𝗺. It was very tricky to pick an MVP, but in the end, we've had to go with LL. His Wukong performance, the way he split team fights and made sure that 𝗏𝗏 was never able to execute their game plan, couldn't be ignored. But a heavy shout out to his whole team, except maybe 𝗬𝗏, who was a bit off. But it was
𝗬𝗏 had a little
overall
bit of an off
team
game.
performance.
But yeah,
But
I'm just
game 2.
so impressed by their team. There is not really a standard player in every game. It's not like they heavily rely on one player to perform. Everyone is stepping up, and even when 𝗬𝗏 has an off game, the other teammates can cover him. That is always a very good sign when you're trying to get into the top half of the teams.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And game 2, we need to see 𝗏𝗏 fix up their things as we head into Champion Select. What do we need to see here? What picks need to change?
Well, I actually think picks can stay the same if 𝗬𝗏 actually knows how to play Aphelios Lulu. Because in theory, I still think 𝗏𝗏's team composition was very easy to execute and a very good fit for their team. Very heavy 𝗬𝗏 focus with strong top lane. That is also a little bit of a problem. 𝗧𝗏 collapsed in top lane and gave LL an advantage he shouldn't have given up in the matchup. I guess the matchup is not actually that Renekton favored, but still 𝗧𝗏 should be a little bit more stable in top lane. But those two things
shouldn't be dying 1v1.
Absolutely not. So those two things are the biggest concerns for me for game 2. Can 𝗬𝗏 actually pilot Aphelios to the same level as other ADCs across the world? Or do you just go back to some of the more traditional 𝗬𝗏 comps, go Kai'Sa and Nautilus bot lane or something? Because you just know how to play it.
Will Varus get picked? He's still not banned. He got all the way through the draft, which is insane.
I think I'm a little bit ahead, so I stop on the first pick for 𝗏𝗏. Please tell me when they lock in their first.
I will. They're hovering Aphelios at the moment. Sorry about this. This is just kind of a reality of what we have to do. It's, Aphelios would make sense, by the way. Oh, and it's Graves locked in.
There we go.
Is our producer saying?
Once again, Graves as a first pick here. We saw Graves first pick in the first game as well. I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
So Graves for some reason even got the MVP for Cerberus. I mean, they love ADCs over here. I don't want to comment it anymore. So I don't agree. I think if Graves played a very good early game, but then later on in the team fight it was more on Wukong and 𝗀𝗃 as well. Of course, Artemis dealt all the damage, but 𝗀𝗃 played a very strong Bard game as well.
Something to just point out quickly. Ego's in, but 𝗏l isn't. 𝗙𝗃𝗕𝗘𝗥𝗕𝗥. So it's not the strict duos. Yijin has been taken out. It was a pretty average performance on the Jarvan.
So Ego has been the Graves specialist, so it makes sense. If you want to first pick Graves, and if you're anticipating that Graves is open, maybe it makes sense to sub an Ego. The first performance for Ego had a pretty good early game, if I remember correctly, but then their team coordination was not the greatest later on. A little bit of a reoccurring theme here for Flash. But it was even worse when Ego and 𝗏l played, so let's see what they can do. And we're basically swapping team compositions. So this has happened so many times now in the VCS, it's very interesting. Teams seem to agree on drafts that are blue side and red side, and not so much team drafts. So look at this, Flash has picked up all the champs for Cerberus, and Cerberus has picked similar champs to what Flash wanted to run in the last game.
Absolutely. Of course, Rek'Sai and Jarvan do similar things, and Set locked away as well. This is an interesting one so far for Flash, and Yado goes to Zoe.
You know, that is his nickname, right? Zoe. Zoe, he is very famous for his Zoe, so let's hope he can step up a little bit more and carry his team to victory, as his team dragged him over the line in the last game where he kind of hinted. So let's see what he can do in the Zoe. 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 is a very interesting carry combination. They want to do different things, but that's not actually that bad of a thing for 𝗃𝗃𝗃, because the interesting thing with him is he brings enough damage, so you don't actually have to bring a carry from another position. And Zoe has a lot of control, has a lot of zoning, and can buy space for the 𝗃𝗃𝗃s to shine, so I actually don't mind it. It might fall a bit short in terms of range though, so that's an opportunity Flash can maybe work on here. Build strong range in the mid lane and maybe even the top lane to exploit some of the shortcomings of Cerberus' composition.
It's very possible, as Galio and 𝗀 are removed by Cerberus, Renekton so far by Flash. We'll wait to see what their second ban is. Yuumi, of course, still available.
Not banned this time by the Ezreal team. Yay.
They do ban Nautilus. They're not self-banning like Cerberus did last game. Not that it slowed Cerberus down. They looked great with that Bard.
By the way, last pick 𝗃𝗏 would insta-win Cerberus the draft. Just throwing it out here.
Well, I think Bard makes some sense.
𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 had a very good game on Bard, so I don't mind it.
Could be top lane 𝗃𝗃𝗃.
Bard also very, very good into Yuumi, actually, so...
True.
Yuumi needs to be super careful against Bard in lane. And also, if Bard ever gets a stun on Ezreal, Yuumi is kind of a sitting duck as well, or sitting cat, of course. So, what can we see from Flash? More...
Twisted Fate is what we're seeing from Flash.
Fits the style of 𝗃𝗃𝗃. It's a little bit different than Galio. It's a little bit more self-carry. He needs to carry a little bit more on his own. Galio is more about reading the map state and being at the right place in the right time. Steel Shadow coming in.
That's a...
No,
okay.
Steel Shadow is actually right.
Yeah. Camille is locked in. Huh. Okay.
Split push composition.
And it's going to be answered by Mordekaiser. Not the easiest matchup for Mord. In fact, quite a hard matchup for Mord.
So now we have taken a very different turn in both compositions. Interesting. So Set will be the support for Ezreal. Maybe not the most natural synergy in this lane. And I feel like Set should struggle in laning phase against Bard, because Bard has a lot of slows with the Q and auto attacks as well. So can deny a lot of what Set wants to do. Also a very strong trading champion. So I feel like 𝗧𝗲 will struggle in laning phase. He's very strong into Aphelios though, so don't mind the 𝗧𝗲 support. Team Flash trying to go for a very different approach. First game was full on team fight, full on all the X in the Slater basket. This game is much more about solo lanes and how they will split push to victory. This reminds me a lot of what G2 was running yesterday with 𝗘𝗀𝗀𝗃 and Twisted Fate as solo laners. This time it's Camille. Camille kind of similar to 𝗘𝗀𝗀 in a way, where she just becomes unbeatable at one point in the game. So it's a lot of trust put into Stark after a very bad performance in game 1. So I'm worried for Flash. They seem to have completely shifted their style here. Slater more of a facilitator on the Ezreal. It's not going to be about team fights. He's just going to catch waves in mid lane while the solo laners go to side lanes and push in turrets. So Stark needs to step up big time for this game to work. If he once again has a lackluster performance in the top lane, they really can't win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been the sort of thing we've been saying about Stark for quite a while. He has come in to replace Yoshino, who has a fairly long-term illness. Hopefully he is all right, and hopefully we do see him come back soon. But Stark, he's been okay at best, unfortunately. He's had a couple of good games, but nothing standout. It's a hole in Flash's team. I'm honestly surprised that they picked up a new jungler and a new mid lane and not a new top, even though they did try something for the top lane and it didn't work out.
I was very impressed with Stark in players. I felt like he was a very solid player for them and gave them exactly what they wanted. But he strikes me a little bit as a motivation-based player. A player that doesn't really get going until players hit. So we haven't seen him in regular season for a long time. He played not a single game in regular season in spring. So maybe there's just a little bit of early split, slump, maybe a little bit of lacking of motivation from the side of Stark. But this is a great opportunity to redeem himself if he's able to carry this game for Flash. This would be the first ever victory in Summer Split for Flash, because so far they're 0-3 and not looking too good.
Yeah, they are looking really bad. Let's be totally honest. For our reigning champions, it's been pretty terrible so far.
And it's a very strange way in which they look bad, because their early games have been fine mostly. They had one blowout early game, if I remember correctly, against %. But mostly they have been fine in early game, even getting leads. But then their mid-game coordination and especially teamfight reads are so bad, which is very surprising, because teamfighting is what gave them the title, what won them the series against the two of the strongest teams in EVOS and GAM, of course. They just play teamfight comps and won. So it's very weird to see Flash be bad in teamfights. That's the reality we're living in.
It is, but let's zoom in to this game. Let's look at the team comps that have been set up. Flash, they're playing split push. They're going to try and do what 𝗖𝗄𝗏 did yesterday with the Twisted Fate and just take structures the whole time. How do they get to the point where they can run the 1-3-1?
Very smart movement here for Stark. I really like this. He spotted out 𝗬𝗏. Good call probably from the jungler to say 𝗬𝗏 is very likely to be there, so just check it out for me so you're not at risk of getting ganked. Like this a lot. But to come back to your question, they want a slow early game. They want everyone farming up, and when level 6 hits, try to dive top lane. They have a lot of CC in the top lane. They have good resets on the turret aggro as well, with Stark taking aggro first and then resetting it with his ultimate, because that's a 0.75, I think, second immunity you have there. So that's a very, very clear opportunity. Of course, the problem is the top laner on the enemy team is a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So it's kind of important to get an experience advantage, and we might see the first clash.
𝗬𝗏 has been found, but 𝗖𝗏𝗏 was over there so much earlier. He smites for health, but it's not healthy enough. They're trying to keep this one going. 𝗖𝗏𝗏 goes low, but he doesn't go down, and he might get away. I don't think the Steel Shadow is going to catch up, and it's 2 kills for Cerberus at 3.5 minutes. Ego fought with his ego when he needed to go back to his id, and oh no, they're so far behind.
And once again, we see a small little misread. We've seen this in the first read of VCS a little bit too often for my liking. A misread on the champion. Because what Stark did there was chase the mid laner without flash. And we can see, okay, let's first take a look. This is very easy execution. Flash smite, actually nicely done from 𝗍𝗂 to get a little bit of health back. And now 𝗬𝗏 is caught. And every other mid laner would die here, but he gets the stolen flash. And of course, the movement speed buff from W. So Stark.
Just by the way.
Absolutely. But that's once again the misread. Every other mid laner would have been dead for this flash expanded there. But it's 𝗏𝗏, so she gets movement speed, she gets another flash. And even though Stark flashes after her, she still gets away. It's 2 kills for Cerberus. It's flash used for Stark and Ego. So that's the worst possible start for their side.
Yeah, this is an absolute disaster. And 𝗬𝗏 making it even worse as he rains the damage in on 𝗬𝗏.
There was a could punish him here. He has flash.
Yeah, he could, and he looks like he's going to go for it. Pops the Q, hits the face breaker. 𝗬𝗏's in some trouble. 𝗬𝗏 says, nope, I'm out. And Ego will get one back. And it's only a 500 gold deficit now for Flash.
Very, very nicely done from 𝗏𝗏, roaming up, using the time, and, 𝗏𝗏 can just be self-sufficient on lane. He didn't even have to flash, so he can do this again very aggressively and look for a punish on 𝗬𝗏's flash, because, flash E is a very easy way to get on top of 𝗏𝗏. So now 𝗬𝗏 in a very bad position. He might just int again this game, sadly.
Very low. Has to back off. But here come the boys. Magical Journey. 𝗏𝗏 should be getting knocked up. Oh, no, they're going to go for Slater. There's an exhaust Twisted Fate ult. They might have waited a little bit too long. Slater corralled in.
Hello, 𝗬𝗏?
𝗬𝗏, what just happened? That was weird. But what matters is Slater going down, used everything in the tank. But Cerberus gets the third.
And they even get the ultimate from 𝗏𝗏, which is on a decently long cooldown. The first ultimate, that is the legendary thing to talk about as a caster. First ultimate from TF has to stick, But yeah, this one did not do anything. So another bad start for Flash, and a kill now. The kill didn't go over to Artemis, which is good because Artemis used everything in his arsenal. He's now quite exploitable. His flash is not available, and you still have 𝗏𝗏's flash. So there is an opportunity to look for a kill there. Well, let's look at this again. Also want to point out, okay, Artemis just tanking minions here a little bit too long. He knows he has 2 shrines behind him, so under no threat of dying, he still has flash and heal available too. But this actually costs his flash later in the long run. As you can see, he heals to get in range, and now not quite sure why he flashed away there, honestly.
𝗏𝗏 had been hit by a bubble. He fell asleep right after he landed. That's why he stopped. It looked so strange, but it was a 𝗏𝗏 bubble. 𝗬𝗏 helping out without being able to answer.
Yeah, very good play for 𝗬𝗏. And he now should have full control over mid lane. The 𝗏𝗏 against Twisted Fate in the 1v1 is just a little bit of a stronger champion in lane, so most likely 𝗬𝗏 will control this lane and will make it very difficult for Twisted Fate to ever roam out of her vision, because as we saw, if she tries to roam in vision, she just gives him a bubble and he goes to sleep. So can't really do much.
Depressing for sure. Oh god, 𝗏𝗏.
Yeah. 𝗏𝗏 actually helped 𝗏𝗏 there with the redemption, very minor mechanic, but redemption heals minions as well. And the first minion would have died to the turret, but instead it actually dropped down to exactly lasted range. So nice little help for 𝗬𝗏. But now
Harold appears to be the target for Cerberus.
And you are a little bit of a 𝗧𝗏𝗏 aficionado, right? What do you think about the 𝗧𝗏𝗏 so far on this lane? Do you feel like this is the correct itemization?
Yeah, you have to go Seekers. You go Seekers, you stack it up. You can't go an aggressive item against Camille. You never beat her. You just have to accept the fact that you never win.
I really like Bramble Vest on 𝗧𝗏𝗏 early against AD matchups, but I feel I guess Camille doesn't really heal too much, right? So
the Seekers is fine. Bramble Vest is annoying to go because you really don't want to go Thornmail. But going Zhonya's is actually pretty great. So.
Okay. Do you finish the Zhonya's first here? No, you probably don't, right?
I don't know. You go back into your proto belt. Depends when he wants his power spike. If he wants an earlier power spike, he'll go proto belt. If he is happy enough just delaying, he'll either go Liandry's or Nash's.
That's fair.
Looks like Nash.
I feel like proto belt has really fallen out of favor in pro play. I haven't seen proto belt Mordekaiser in a long time. Most go Liandry's into Nashers. Even Riley's has kind of fallen out of favor. As we see, the 8-minute Herald swap, both bot laners going to the top lane for Cerberus' side. It's a very reluctant swap from the side of Flash, because Stark just had the wave crash into him, or slow push into him, so he wanted to collect all of the experience, and he is one of the main carries. So Flash actually opted to give up a lot of tempo and the Rift Hold just to get a little bit more gold onto Stark, a little bit more experience too. And in the end, this I feel like is a little bit advantageous for Cerberus' side. But in terms of gold...
I was about to say, the gold is fairly even. Twisted Fate ultimate used. Where's he going to land? In the top lane. Ooh, 2 ultimates and 0 impact. This is not a good early game from this Twisted Fate. In fact, it's really bad.
That was so depressing. He didn't deal any damage. Rumpy just stood there, okay, I have the very broken Guardian rune here, so please try again. And it's even platings on the other side of the map where the very late swap is now coming in for Flash, but they gave up 2 plates, or maybe even one plate in the bot lane, while also giving up the Rift Hold, so actually losing on both sides of the map in the long run, because of course the Rift Hold is very likely to get 2 plates wherever it's placed, so the gold is going to be accelerated very shortly. It's 1k now. With Rift Hold, it should go up to 1.5. And then Cerberus is in a very good spot, because Dragon is about to spawn too. Everyone has reset. Bot lane is now back to bot, so they had in tempo with that swap as well. Collected more minions and more experience. I feel like they're reading the map a little better than Flash, and even though Flash has global pressure with Twisted Fate, that has really not amounted to anything, so... Great early game so far from Team Cerberus.
Yeah, so far Cerberus, once again, they look like they're calling all the shots. They have all the tempo. And while the gold lead at the moment is nothing insurmountable, it's only 1,000 gold, they still have a Rift Herald to summon, which they're doing right now. Going to give that over to Artemis as well, who has looked very, very good. We said him and Slater are the battle to watch, the battle to decide the series. And so far, it's all going one way.
Artie has flash? Does he flash here?
I don't think so. Is the Rek'Sai will just swim away and flash, go for another play that fails.
Yeah, once again, they invest time for some weird play. They wanted to kill the jungler here to get the free dragon, but instead they are losing. They just lost time. They lost the turret, and now also priority on the dragon. So everything going Cerberus' way. Now take another look at the goal totals. I said it is going to change, and definitely did.
And Yado just throwing bombs. This is
one finished item on Zoe. Maybe the strongest power spike in the game on one item. I'm not sure. There some Trinity champs may have a word with her too, but in pro play at least, I feel like this is one of the most impactful one item power spikes.
To a Trinity Force power spike. There's a bit of a gold difference there.
Yeah, no, Zoe. It's only like 300 gold difference, I feel. Right? Ludens is not that cheap an item.
Trinity is very
pretty expensive. Yeah. But yeah, Zoe right now, very, very strong. Aphelios doesn't have any items, but he's still Aphelios, so he should be able to deal decent amounts of damage. Ezreal should be a little bit stronger right now, and the first item coming in for Carti as well. He needs some time to scale up. So Cerberus in a very comfortable position. The Graves and 𝗬𝗲 are on even terms, kind of, but the armor boots will be very, very nice for 𝗬𝗲 to be tanky in mid-game team fights, because there's so many auto attackers. It even works against AP Twisted Fate to some extent, because some of his damage is still auto attack focused.
Yep.
So very smart boot choice, in my opinion, here for 𝗬𝗲, making him a little bit of an off tank.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's what Rek'Sai has to do after the early game, if you don't get super, super far ahead, of course, he is 2-0. It's not a bad early game performance by any means, but still probably not enough to go into crazy damage builds. Just go a little bit tanky, try and be a menace in the back line. What do we think of Ego so far? Have you been impressed by this Graves? I know you don't like the champion, but how do you think he's been pathing and assigning his time so far?
Done anything so far? I think he has killed jungle creeps, and he's behind in that regard too. So, not the greatest Graves performance. As you know, I'm very biased against Graves, so I don't even know how to grade a good Graves. I guess a good Graves is someone who's 50 CS ahead of his enemy, which, to be fair, he still has some time to accrue some. Nice.
Every single time. I mean, this is, at this point, 𝗏𝗃, you've got to learn. You can't go towards the Bard. He just tunnels them out. He did them out every single time. That's the third. He's altered 3 times, and all 3 times, 𝗀𝗏𝗺 has changed the play with the tunnel. You can't do it. Bard has an E.
But still priority now for the side of Flash. 𝗧𝗲 looking for a little bit of a flank here. He's on vision. No, he has a pink ward there.
The showstopper is there's the knockup. Tempered Fate. 𝗧𝗲 a little bit caught out. Goes underground. Jumps back out. He's very, very low.
No.
He lives and Stark goes down. It's all going Cerberus way. And then big Bard's done. 𝗏𝗃 has to go golden. Ego goes down, and it's only Slater and 𝗏𝗃 to survive. No one on Cerberus goes down, and they are flexing all over the Spring Split champs.
Oh, and in what stylish ways they are flexing. 𝗀𝗏𝗺 is, wow, 𝗀𝗏𝗺 is the best Bard in the league, I have to say. I mean, we haven't seen many Bards so far, so there's a little bit of time to contest him still, but this first showing of his first 2 Bard games is absolutely insane. I hope we get to see a replay, but let's first look at what actually came from this fight. No, there's the replay. And let's look at how 𝗀𝗏𝗺 carries his jungler here. Easily done. If Stark doesn't get the kill, that is the most disgusting thing ever happening to Stark. He does not get the kill there. And now 𝗀𝗏𝗺 flash Q soon. Let's look at this. He sees the opportunity, flash Q, and there we go. 2 more kills.
𝗬𝗧𝗋 in the chat. 𝗬𝗧𝗋 in the chat. As that was a sick team fight out of 𝗀𝗏𝗺. He is showing off on the Bard. He looks so good on the Celestial Wanderer. Oh my god.
So confident on the side of Cerberus. Did you see how Artemis just stood there a while and danced on the enemy team after the last Twisted Fate ult failed? They are feeling great right now, and they have every right to do so, to feel this way, because what a performance so far. They are close to a 4-0 first week, and not against weak opponents. We predicted them to lose all of their games this week, or at least all of the series. Don't remember my prediction for the teams, for the scores, but they are going to 4-0 if nothing crazy happens here. And that is such an insane start. They have played against Team Secret and Team Flash, 2 playoff teams, the number 1 and the number 4 team. They were number 5, so a 4-0 start against those teams, even though it's just week 1, it's a very good sign.
Yeah, it's insane. This is so impressive. Flash has set a trap. I don't know if they even win this 2v2 though, and they just call it off.
Probably not. And now it's the 3rd dragon as well, even though they don't really need the soul. The soul is, of course, nice to have too. And there's another fight attempt. 𝗏𝗃.
Another Twisted Fate ult will not get anything done. Tempered Fate comes out. This one doesn't quite hit. 𝗏𝗏 does have a gold card primed. LL TPing in. The dragon resets, but it won't be like that for long. You know Cerberus wants to take the fight. They're so much stronger. Flash, you always have to just give this one up.
Yeah, I definitely think you have to give this one up. The jungler is a level down. They have 𝗧𝗏𝗃 too. If you try to fight, you'll lose.
Slater is alpha.
Yeah. 𝗧𝗲, Yado is so strong on Zoe right now. And this is the perfect dragon once again for Zoe. Not because of stats, but because of the terrain it generates. And now Palat is trying to go for something.
Yep, he's charging in, uses the showstopper, but goes golden, does 𝗬𝗨𝗪. 𝗬𝗨𝗪's there as well. 𝗃𝗏𝗺 will go down first. Very little have actually happened to 𝗬𝗏. Stark in the back line goes down, and this isn't even close. Ego is in the death realm with 𝗧𝗏𝗪. He comes out and goes down. And 𝗬𝗏 don't even break a sweat. They're driving along the highway. They're in their car, and then they have to turn the windscreen wipers on because a bug hit them.
We just have to go back to our pre-game and point out how much Flash is misreading compositions and win conditions. They did this on the first day as well, and now they are really committing this mistake as well. But first, let's take a look at the team fight. A pretty good start from 𝗃𝗏𝗺, but 𝗬𝗨𝗪 with the clutch Zhonya's doesn't even lose any HP, and now the fight is already won. Look at Ego against LL in this very sad fight. LL gets like 2 auto attacks on Ego. And now Ego comes out of the Death Realm, and he really would have liked to stay in that Death Realm forever, because the other side didn't look any less like death for him. So this game might just be over very soon, but I want to stress the point again, because this is our champions playing right now, and they are very disappointing so far in this first week of VCS action. There's a lot of time still to improve, but some very glaring weaknesses and some very concerning stuff as well, because their team coordination looked great at the end of spring. I have no idea where all of that went. Especially the most important thing is how they are misreading team compositions. Why would you ever start a fight there? You can't get the dragon in any... There's no realm of possibility where you actually get the dragon there. You're playing against 𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 with ult. He's just going to ult your jungler, even if you're even.
Zoe does get stunned. They're trying to get something back, but look at all the heals. It doesn't even matter. Stark finds 𝗬𝗏𝗺. This should be a kill. Oh, they've mistimed the CC. 𝗃𝗏𝗺 doesn't know how long a Zhonya's last. In the death realm with Ego. LL charging forward, pulls 𝗧𝗏𝗪 over the wall. Get over here. But 𝗧𝗏𝗪 gets away. And it's only the 1 kill, but Flash get decimated in the health bars. And I think 𝗬𝗏𝗺 are going to go have a visit with old mate 𝗓𝗏𝗄.
Yeah, 𝗓𝗏𝗄 is once again not too happy with Flash's performances, because usually he gets to live like 5, 6, maybe even 10 minutes longer. But because of Flash's very lackluster performance, he's now the main target. Flash isn't really there to play with 𝗬𝗏𝗺 anymore, so they have to look for different objectives to take. And there we go. Baron very easily uncontested going over to 𝗬𝗏𝗺. They only 2 minutes out from the Mountain Soul, and let's say 6 minutes out from the game victory. That's my prediction right now. They are looking crisp and clean.
Yeah, they are looking crisp, clean, and under control. Let's have a look at this play, though. 𝗬𝗨𝗪, he went low, was healed straight back up, and they couldn't even get 𝗬𝗏𝗺. 𝗃𝗏𝗺 just mistimed everything.
Yeah. Now even the minor mechanical things are not going Flash's way anymore. As you said, 𝗃𝗏𝗺 just completely mistiming the free kill on 𝗬𝗏𝗺 there. That he should have been dead. He had like 200, 300 HP left. Instead, he gets out again. More kills over to 𝗬𝗏𝗺. It's a devastation. It's just... What can you say? Flash is not looking like a good team right now. They are looking one of the worst teams in the league. I feel like after week 1 performances, I would rank them second to last, which is a big surprise to me.
Yeah, I mean, apparently FTV didn't die. They just rebranded. And 𝗃𝗏𝗺 has now been caught. He'll get the CC train, big shield from the Haymaker, but it doesn't matter, and 𝗬𝗏𝗺 will get his 4th. And, I mean, at this point, I think Flash knows it's over. We know it's over. 𝗬𝗏𝗺 knows it's over. We're just here to watch a Nexus explode.
Did you just switch to live or something? Because that happened way later for me.
Interesting. Okay. Am I ahead? Did I jump ahead somehow?
I feel like you did.
What
doesn't really matter too much, because it doesn't really matter too much because the game is probably over anyway. The dragon is coming up in 40 seconds, and it's 11-1 in kills, 44k gold to 34k gold. Well,
Well,
Flash had their chances, especially in game 1, but game 2 has been even better for Cerberus, I feel. And very good performances all across the board. This time, 𝗬𝗨𝘀 stepping up as well after a very lackluster performance in game 1. But they denied every single Twisted Fate ultimate. Steel Shadow didn't get to do anything here.
ran out
And
of
once again,
ammunition.
Graves. Look at Graves. 1-4. 20 CS behind 𝗬𝗀𝗃𝗃.
Yeah,
Great champion.
no item
Great
complete.
first pick.
Yeah, again,
Please continue first picking Graves.
it's ridiculous. And the Mountain Soul will be denied. Ego does manage to get something back at least. That's nice. Am I still ahead?
For me, you are, but
Okay.
yeah, you should probably stop for like 4 seconds or something. So there we go. Bot lane is now pushed. They still have Baron. Losing out on the Mountain Soul is annoying, but honestly, it doesn't change anything about this game. Now 𝗀𝗏 is going to annoy Stark. He's only 1 level down. He might actually fancy a fight here. Nope.
Not quite.
Not quite the case.
As they will just push in. Losing the Mountain Soul is unfortunate, but it's not going to really change the fortunes of this team. So, Ego, is it worth the continued experiments with the youngster, or is it time just to go back to the tried and true Yujin? Not that he looked great in game 1 either.
Yeah, indeed. That's the problem.
Moment,
it's not like you can.
Is anything working?
Yeah, you can't even write it off and say, yeah, we're just experimenting with the roster. Even if you play a starting roster, it's not looking great. So I feel like you can't really fault Ego too much. He's the designated Grace player. I just hate Grace. I think he's pretty bad. So maybe you go away from your Grace priority because it's clearly not working.
Ooh,
but then what is? So
kaboom! The fireworks come in. And that is a whole heck of a lot of damage. And speaking of Graves, just to illustrate the point, he gets burnt to a crisp. And Cerberus, come on. End the game, lads.
Yeah, there we go. They are... Oh, LL is dropping pretty
LL
low. He's probably going to die here.
Showstopper. He might die, and he does. It's a shutdown for Flash. The beginning of the comeback as they get 2. And
Twisted Fate ultimate.
Ooh,
No, teleport.
Ooh,
teleport,
no,
not ultimate.
Teleport, you're right. I was wondering where the I was. 𝗏𝗏 charging in. 𝗬𝗏 has no mana. There's actually going to be a lot of kills here for Flash. The potential throw, but I don't know. How far can you throw a ball? Because I don't think I can throw one far enough to get Flash back in this game.
No, definitely can't do that either. You need, as we can't throw the ball that far with 1 throw, I think we need a few more. That was the first 10 meters, so I think we still need at least 100 to go.
You can do better than that.
Yeah, I definitely can throw the ball. I definitely can do better than 10 meters. I haven't thrown a ball in a very long time, but yeah. 10 meters is probably a little bit low. Just wanted to go with very nice round numbers, okay?
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know when the last time I threw a ball was. I didn't even... All the sports I played in high school didn't even involve ball throwing.
But, I mean, throwing is probably going to help you being able to throw a ball, right? It's building a lot of muscles.
It's very famous. Rowers are some of the most uncoordinated people you will ever meet.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, proper unco. Yeah. But speaking of uncoordinated, Flash, as 𝗏𝗏 has been caught out, will he get knocked up? He certainly will. Death's Grasp is dodged. Does manage to get around the claw, but it doesn't matter because 𝗧𝗏 has no way to escape. And LL will take the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 to the grave.
Well, 𝗏𝗏, maybe next time don't pull the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 to you. I feel like that's probably not a good thing to do on the set.
Oh, you're not enraged here. Let me help. He's helpful.
Well, the game is still very much over. It got late a little bit. They could have finished this game by 25 minutes, but instead it's going to take a little bit longer. Second inhibitor is going to fall here. Not, apparently. Oh, 𝗏𝗏𝗃?
Cerberus playing this one very close to the chest, but 𝗏𝗏𝗃 just walks forward and he wants to go home, I think. Redemption comes in.
He just walking. He flashed forward.
Yeah, that was
He flashed gold-carded Artemis when no one was able to follow from his team. Another sign of missing coordination on the side of 𝗏𝗏. It's getting worse and worse the more footage we see. Please make it stop.
Yeah.
Let them go to their break.
Yeah, I mean, some of I don't know how much more we can read out of this game because it's just tilt central. They're engaging 4v5 here. This is last ditch. 𝗧𝗲𝗺 in the back line. He goes down, so they started off well, making a 4v4. There's a true shot barrage, but the tempered fate Stark gets pinged by the death grasp. 𝗍𝗀 on the run, 𝗧𝗏𝗺 as well. 𝗏𝗏P is going to go make sure Stark struggles to clear the wave, but he's actually done a pretty good job of chopping that. Are they going to chase him down or just end the game? 𝗬𝗏𝗺, they are having some fun, I believe, and definitely trying to get one over on the Spring Split champs as they will finally claim their Mountain Soul as well.
Will they?
Has 𝗏𝗏𝗺? It's true. Has 𝗏𝗏𝗺 had an impactful ult this game onto his?
I don't think so.
Has he done anything?
I really do. Oh, they get it. Nice.
They did get it. The Mountain Soul. It definitely, that is what's going to seal the coffin. It definitely wasn't decided until then. No, this game's been over for about 10 minutes.
Yes, it has.
𝗬𝗏𝗺, come on, boys. Let's go.
I want to see a replay from the last fight. Did LL actually troll his support? And 𝗏𝗏𝗺, one of the targets here that the support wanted to use for his Q stun? Not sure. I felt like something like that happened there. But maybe LL 𝗏𝗏𝗺 just mistimed his Q as well. We have to see that again. There's a lot of tunnels underneath the Baron pit into the ocean.
There really is. We got to be careful. You really don't want to destabilize the area. There we go. Stark doing the community thing and just filling in those tunnels, making sure the ground is nice and stable, strong and stable. As they will move over the Baron.
Be very helpful for his side of the community, though.
No, not really.
Just take the Baron, guys. You have Mordekaiser ult. What are you afraid of? Come on.
This is 𝗬𝗏𝗺. They're almost a little indecisive because they're doing around a bit too much. The Tempered Fate was not great. Good dodge by 𝗧𝗏𝗺 and 𝗍𝗀. Come on, 𝗬𝗏𝗺. Take the Baron, push in, win the game.
Yeah, they don't really have to fear anything. There's no vision. They have Mordekaiser ult. It should be a very free Baron, of course. They even have Mount Shield.
Level up.
𝗍𝗀 is in vision, so just Death Realm, 𝗍𝗀, and take the Baron. Come on, guys. Why are you so scared?
Maybe they just want to get around the Twisted Fate ult.
They're giving us so much mid lane priority.
Yeah, 𝗬𝗏𝗺 almost don't realize how far they're ahead they are, which is
I feel that's
strange. This is not particularly difficult to read how far up they are.
I feel like this is the result of the last team fight. Last team fight in base, I think, discouraged them a big time, where they really want to finish this game against 𝗏𝗏𝗺 now. They can see the 2-0, and they really don't want to throw it away, so they lost one team fight, and now they're scared to do anything, which is actually the bigger throw. So please, come on. Just think about the situation and acknowledge. Okay, 𝗏𝗏𝗺
gets caught in the Tempered Fate. This should be a free kill, and surely that signals take the Baron and end. You've killed the mid laner. You can't be scared of anything, 𝗬𝗏𝗺.
Also, by the way, now a way better positioning for the enemy team for 𝗬𝗏𝗺, because last time they weren't sure where 𝗍𝗀 could come from. So even though they have Death Realm, it's kind of hard to predict where he's going to approach from, and then maybe you might even miss the smite. But this time around, they chased them off the mid lane, so they had full vision of the whole area. Look at the top side jungle. Everything is warded there. So this time around it was a super safe Baron. This was close to 100% as you can get. So now should be the time to finish the game. They have 2 open inhibitors. They have 1 very fragile inhibitor turret in the bot lane. So 3 inhibitor turrets should be 3 inhibitors, I should say, should be very easy to obtain. 𝗍𝗀, hello?
Hello? What? Okay, he got the recall and did not get caught there.
Wait, the ult is still available, even though the animation.
Yeah, it's weird like that.
Came through. Interesting.
Okay,
I
well,
also feel like it's a very bad decision to start with ultimate there, SLL, with Nash's Tooth. A very
Yeah.
quick auto-attack animation. Just auto-attack him once.
yeah, just bonk him. There's big bard stun, but the Death's Grasp doesn't land.
Ooh, the damage!
Woo-hoo! Ego survives just for one moment longer. Paulette tries to go in, showstoppers, onto the 𝗙𝗺𝘀𝗺, but it just doesn't matter as 𝗬𝗺𝘀 just say, okie dokie, boys. Okay, 𝗬𝗺𝘀, let's get a wave. 3 of them are dead. Just, come on.
Yeah, it's the end of the game. You don't have
The
to worry
game is
anymore.
ending.
34 minutes.
Finally lock this one in. 34 minutes. And 𝗬𝗺𝘀 have taken a 2-0 over Flash, a 4-0 week. And they say, you rated us low in your big brain predictions. You have small brains because they are dominant in this first week.
What an incredible performance. I can't believe this 𝗬𝗺𝘀 turned out. I always knew they were a team with potential and a very decent team. Never said they were bad, but did not see them go to these high highs in the first week.
No.
It's very hard to decide on an MVP.
I was thinking LL again. The 𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗧𝗃 was
For this
very good.
game,
Maybe 𝗧𝗏 or 𝗧𝗏. LL or 𝗧𝗏, in my opinion.
don't you think 𝗧𝗏𝗺 had a very good ults in the mid game to break open the game? I feel like 𝗧𝗏𝗺 deserves this one.
True. Yeah, okay, let's go 𝗧𝗏𝗺. Fair enough. Let's go 𝗧𝗏𝗺. And lock that one in. But player of the series will be LL up in the top lane. If we have the graphic ready, I hope we do. And 𝗬𝗺𝘀.
Incredible.
Wow, that was a ridiculously dominant 2 games. They are looking hot, hot, hot. What else is there to say? Flash. You need to start flashing because at the moment you're put out.
And we came in today with the storyline of the boomer top lanes playing weak side champs against each other, wet noodle fights with tanks. Yeah, nothing of that happened. LL just stomped Stark 2 games in a row with a little bit of assistance, of course. First game, he started with a solo kill, and second game, he heavily outperformed him again. 2 carry champs, or, well, maybe not full carry champs, but definitely more carry-oriented than than Ornn or Maokai would be. So very impressive showing. I always think LL is one of the most underrated players in the VCS. He's a very strong top laner, and still to be respected, even at his relatively old age compared to other VCS players.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just overall, all of 𝗬𝗺𝘀, I'm repeating myself, I know, but my God, they look good. They are a very big, scary 3-headed dog, and they played like it today. So, with that, our first series draws to a fairly quick end. And we have to look forward to the second series, which of course will be brought to you right here in probably about 20 minutes, which is normally what the break is. Don't go anywhere, guys. We hope to keep you with us. And
one more series to close of the week, and this should be a very interesting one as well. 2 teams that lost, so one of the 2 teams will go 0-2 as well. A little bit unexpected too. It's 2 teams that are prospected or should be in the upper echelons of teams as well. So week 1 has been full of surprises.
Absolutely. We'll have to see if it continues into our next series. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Down below the stream, there is a Discord link. There are a few other links. You can go down there, have a read, have a see what they do. Any support is always appreciated. We hope you enjoyed our little commentary, and we'll see you guys for Series 2 in not too long.